Welcome back to the Talking Sports Podcast, hosted by Peter DiBiasi and John Rocco Trumpbour, right here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. And as always, sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Use code TSP for 100% deposit match up to $100. Guys, appreciate everyone that is clicking on the episode. If you're on YouTube, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Almost at 3K. We're getting closer. We're getting very close. If you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify, drop a follow, drop a review, download it, all that fun stuff. Jared, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about some draft prospects today.
Yeah, if you guys can tell by the title of the episode, we're talking about NBA draft superlatives. We've never done this type of episode, and this is going to be one of two NBA draft content you're gonna be seeing podcast version. The second one will be the standard NBA draft episode, similar to the NFL draft episode we did a couple months ago. But before we get into today's topic and today's conversation, Jared, where can everyone find us on social media and plug, as always, our sponsorship?
Yeah. So we are on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Talking Sports PD. If you don't know already, please hit us with the follow. Follow us on all our content that we post outside of just YouTube. We love to stay connected with you guys. And like Pete said, we're around 50 away from 3,000. So thank you so much for, subscribing if you already subscribed. And if you haven't, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Really mean a lot to us. Like Pete said, our sponsor, Underdog Sports Fantasy, Underdog Fantasy. If you use our code TSP when creating your account, they'll match your original deposit, 100% match. So you put in 10, they'll throw you 10 to use on the app. There's all cool sorts of things to do with pick'ems and player comparisons. Especially with the MLB this summer. NBA is over, but MLB is here, and then NBA is not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
So use promo code TSP, and thank you. And Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Yeah, everything in the description as always. TikTok, all that fun stuff, good content as always. Make sure you guys subscribe. Almost at 3K, and we're pumping out content probably like we've never before in this consistently, just because summer, basically out of college, we got more time here.
And there's a lot going on recently. Finals, draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never done a superlatives type of episode. So how this episode's going to work, there's 5 different categories. We're not going to go crazy here. This is not going to be in a 45-hour minute. It could be, but you never know. But this is how it's going to work. We're going to have 5 different quote-unquote categories. We have the most overrated NBA draft prospect, most underrated draft prospect with the highest ceiling, draft prospect with who's the highest risk, and draft prospect with the lowest risk.
And we're not using Wembanyama for highest ceiling. I mean, we kind of understand he has the highest ceiling. 7.
I'm gonna put this out here right now. We didn't use Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, or Victor Wembanyama at all.
Those are the top 3. We could have used them for.
Yep, that it could have been a cop out for highest ceiling. Like, great, yeah.
I guess we could have used it for most overrated, but
yes, if you wanted to use it for most overrated, that would have been your call. But we're not. So we're using, I guess not. We're using household names. Most of these guys are first round talent, if not early.
We're using first round talent, basically.
Yes. But, okay. Yeah. Enough of this chitter chatter. Let's get going here. JR, I'm going to start with you. Who's your most overrated draft prospect?
So this guy, my most overrated is Kobe Buffkin. He's a guy who I've been seeing rise up in draft boards recently, maybe mid lottery. And he's a guy who I don't think should be a lottery pick. I think because it's someone similar to him who from the same college has seen success in the league, like Jordan Poole. I think he's getting a lot of overvalued. And where the NBA is coming, they're expecting guys like this, not weighs a little, he doesn't have weight on him for defense. And they're just, I feel like people just think he's going to turn into Jordan Poole again. And that doesn't come around a lot. Jordan Poole's a great shooter, and he showed it college. I think Kobe Bufkin's a good shooter. He doesn't really create separation the best. And I just think people are visualizing Jordan Poole when they think of Kobe Bufkin. So in their mind, he's valued much higher than he is. I still think he's definitely a first round talent. I just don't think, I wouldn't want my team drafting him in the lottery. So I think he's overrated in that sense where he's definitely first round talent. He could end up being really good. Like all these players, we have no clue. But I just think he's very overvalued because of what people portray he's going to be in the NBA. I think he could be a solid role player off the bench, but I don't think he'll be anything like Jordan Poole or shooting wise like Jordan Poole or Steph Curry. Like, he's not going to end up being like that. He's not going to take the game into his own hands. So, yeah, that's why I think he's overrated.
I've learned when it comes to the NBA draft, it's such a different style of draft than I guess the NFL. I don't follow the NFL draft. Don't follow the MLB draft. But I think, Gerald, I was talking off air how different the NBA draft is. Like if you are picking 17, right? And you get a player that's on your team for 10 years.
It's a great pick. Yeah.
There's spots in this draft where you have to hit big, top 5. You got to hit big. How many times have we seen teams miss it? We saw the Suns pick multiple times in top 10 and just Marquise Chris, Dragon Bender, Alex Linnett, and just like bust. Like not even like if you're gonna miss in the top 10, that player better be at least decent. Like those guys are just god awful.
Team Dragon Bender probably had 3 years in the league. I feel like
I don't know some of these pictures, but then you hit on Ayton's sort of a hit. I guess you had Doncic and Trae Young, but like Devin Booker's a hit, right? Like that's where you hit. Like the Thunder hit on Shea, Gilgeous-Alexander, and sets them forward. You hit it once, you're good. You keep missing, it just sets you back. But I don't know. I'm kind of went off that tangent, but yeah, Kobe Bufkin. He's like Jordan Poole. Like it's an easy comparison.
Just because Jordan Poole wasn't like
Jordan
Poole coming out of college.
It's also because they played at Michigan.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a cop out in my opinion.
I know.
Like, that's a really and look, Jordan Poole is not without flaws. Jordan Poole this year wasn't great. Like he's a high usage player, but misses a ton of shots.
And defensive wise, like Kobe Bufkin.
But that's what happens with a lot of these young players. Yeah. They take a lot of shots and they miss a lot of shots. So my most overrated draft prospect, and this is someone that, like Jared said, I still think he's a lottery pick. I think he could slip into the top 10, I think, potentially. I'm not saying I would take him in the top 10, but this is where I think would happen. And my most overrated draft prospect is UConn guard and national champion winner Jordan Hawkins. This might just because I absolutely can't stand UConn, but it's my most overrated draft prospect, so I can do what I want. There's a couple things with him. I don't think his stats show you his, I guess, struggle shooting wise. I just don't think he's a consistent enough shot maker and a consistent enough shooter. I think he's going to struggle against bigger guards in the NBA. And this might not be fair, and this is exactly what Jared was just talking about with the Poole and Bufkin thing, but the last high prospect to come out of UConn was James Bouknight, and I think they're very similar. I think Bouknight was more of a point guard, in my opinion, and obviously Bouknight has completely failed at the NBA level.
Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
I forgot he exists. He's done nothing with the Charlotte Hornets, and that's the NBA draft right there, that you kind of get sucked in and you just disappear, and it takes a while to get your, I guess, stock back up, in my opinion. I think he's going to struggle against bigger guards. I don't think he's also a consistent enough 2-point shooter, and I don't think he defends at all.
Okay.
And I think, like, I see people in this thing, like he says, draft age is a weakness, right? And I'm not going to knock him for being 21. Like, he just turned 21 in April. Like, I'm not going to be that person. People like, it's a draft age. But my opinion is, I was like, well, like, you can play until you're 35, 36. You still have a 15-year career if you're 21. Like, if you're good, it doesn't really matter your age, in my opinion. I think that's a bad.
I think you're more mature, right?
Exactly. So I think could potentially be a solid player. I just don't know if he has the complete upside, in my opinion. He was a high recruit. He was the 59th recruit according to ESPN's recruiting website. Has good, not great size. And the biggest thing I've read that he might struggle against bigger guards at the next level. But I still think, like, I'm looking over and I'm like, I don't think he has bust potential.
Yeah,
like
I think he
crazy
has
bust potential.
I
I
think he has
just
a low floor.
don't think he can.
I mean, a high floor.
His draft position is going to do justice to where I think he should go.
Okay.
So I think he'll struggle against like the bigger guards. I don't think he's efficient enough player. His field goal percentage, he's a career 39% shooter in college.
From
And
the
I think
field or 3-point?
field.
Okay.
And I don't think that – I think if you struggle in college, sometimes it switches it and you shoot better in the NBA. I just would wish he was more of a consistent mid-range shooter. So – and I wish he was a little more aggressive to the rim. I still think he could be a solid NBA player. I just don't think he has that. I don't think he should be a lottery pick, probably. That's where I'm probably going.
See, I actually do like Jordan Hawkins. I just feel like he's not going to be your star. He's not going to be the guy, ISO ball. But I think for a contending team, he's great off the ball. And like you said, I could see he doesn't drive enough. He doesn't play defense enough. So those are things that, you take into consideration. But I do think he's got size, 6'4", for like a shooting. Actually, I guess that's not even that size anymore.
No.
Big. But I think he could be an asset for a team contending. Come in, like you said, he's already matured. I kind of like it. I like Jordan Hawkins.
I know you do. You do.
I see your points, though. Definitely.
Okay. JR, most underrated. We'll get a little happier here, a little nicer here. Who's your most underrated draft prospect? Someone that's not getting enough love and you probably think should get a little bit more love.
Yeah, I'm going Bryce Sensabaugh from Ohio State. I mean, he's still projected like mid first round, maybe even some people have him higher, like right outside the lottery. I'm not saying you should be a lottery pick, but this is a guy who was crazy good at scoring at Ohio State. He only played like 24 and a half minutes. And they got 16 a game, and he had a efficiency rating of like 26 and a half. This guy could get a bucket. The only thing is, I think NBA teams see him as one-dimensional, where he's got to work on defense. And that's something I can't just say he'll get better at defense, because, defense is two halves of the game. One's defense, one's offense. So you can't just automatically get better at defense. But I think if he puts the work in, he has the frame. He's 6'6", and he's 235. So he's got the size and weight.
Intangibles
as a good like two guard in the league. He kind of reminds me of, I'm not even gonna say that, but
say it.
I was gonna say he reminds me of like a Donovan Mitchell frame, but Donovan's even smaller. I think 6'3", 6'4". But he's got like that small, stocky. He's athletic. But I think this guy is underrated because of his scoring ability. He's got to work on his perimeter game, but he's young. He only played 1 year at college. I think he's 18 years old, 19. But I don't know. I like him a lot. I think he could end up, if he develops his game like he can, I think he could be a really scary player and, average like 16 a game in the league.
Yeah, I'm going to go on and say I don't know enough about him, but
he started like at Ohio State, not starting. So that's why he only has like 24 and a half.
I feel like he fits in from like 15 to 22 in that kind of draft range. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's a pretty wide margin I just gave right there, but like right outside the lottery, but not back end with the first.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes more sense.
Fair
enough. I'm going for my most underrated NBA draft prospect, someone that if you're a true college basketball, if you're a college basketball fan, you know who this is. Jalen Wilson out of Kansas. Former national champion 2 years ago. This guy can flat out score. It's simple as that. He's a scorer. The problem is his draft age. If you thought Jordan Hawkins' draft age was a concern according to this website at 21 years old, Jalen Wilson's draft age is a problem when he turns 23 November 4th, a month into the season, or maybe a little less than a month into the season. But this is a type of guy that I think most people have him early second, end of first, right? But if I'm a team that is looking just for a veteran scorer, a veteran player that can come off the bench, that's not looking for a guy that I have to really develop, right? Because I think Jalen Wilson at this point is probably at his peak. I'm not saying he can't get better,
I wouldn't say his peak, but
I don't. Okay, so
you see what you get out of him.
exactly, yeah, you know what exactly you're not
Yeah.
waiting for him to develop.
Yeah.
Like, you're not like, oh, he could be good in 3 years. Like, he could be good right away, right? So I think this is a guy that could score. He could somewhat defend. He's good. I think his 3-point percentage projects very well to the NBA. He shoots the free throws well. He's a good defensive rebounder. You got a lot of fundamentals there, right? And he's a winner. He's won in college. 6'6.5", small forward, they list him. So he's a little undersized. I think if he was probably 6'8", he'd probably be a clear-cut first-round prospect. I think he's a bit undersized for his position because I don't think he's fast enough or quick enough to play the 2 guard. But he might be a bit undersized to play the 3. But we've kind of seen, Jared, the NBA has kind of gone away from the position style of basketball.
Yeah.
It's a little more positionless. So like, you can score and you can ball. It doesn't matter, in my opinion.
Find a way to put you on the court.
Yeah. So, look, I think, like this says, he's a good small forward, but it could be a small ball power forward at the next level. Kind of guy that can stretch the floor because he has a really good 3-point shot. Physical, says navigates screens off the ball well, likes to use the running starts to build up momentum to get downhill. He's a career best 20.1 points per game in college. Like, he can score.
Yeah.
So this is a guy that I think doesn't have like all the intangibles to be a lottery pick, maybe not all the intangibles to be a first-round pick, but I think he'll come in and he'll be productive. So I think if you want to be, I think it's more of a safe bet here. I think it's a safe bet pick end of the first round if you don't want to have to wait or develop a guy. And I'm also I'm not sick because it just worked with Nikola Jokic in the European, but the amount of times they take guys in the second round in the NBA draft that are just like good college players don't get taken anymore.
Yeah.
In the second round. And
I think 4-year college players.
Teams should start doing that because I think it's a little safer.
I mean, look at Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I think it's a little safer because, look, he might not have the upside of Nikola Jokic, but nobody has.
Like, you're not going to win the lottery, but you're also not going to spend millions of dollars on lottery tickets. And
the amount of times we see NBA prospects just go and just never hear from again is unreal. So maybe be a little more conservative. If you're going to be in the end of the first round, you could be a little more conservative. Like Christian Braun, I know he was a freshman. Was he a freshman out of Kansas, Christian Braun?
I think he was a sophomore.
But I feel like he was more of a conservative pick for the Nuggets.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was solid in his rookie year, and I think he has a chance to be a very solid NBA player.
My only thing with Jalen Wilson is he mentioned he could score, but he's been like their number one scoring option. So I'd like to see how he fits like NBA offense when he's kind of off ball.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to be the number one scoring option, obviously.
No. Well, in this mock draft, I'm looking at 38 to the Kings.
Yeah. And he kind of reminds me like play style, but just like the Kansas guy. Remember Abaji, yeah.
He went last year to
Jazz? I think
you might be right. I think it's the Jazz, yeah.
But yeah, so Kansas, molding talent over there.
Yeah. Molding, not NBA talent, quality college basketball talent, which if you're
experienced players.
If you're a Kansas fan, that's all you care about.
Oh, yeah.
Like Frank Mason, Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham's actually pretty good.
The Morrises, I don't know. Were they one and dones?
I don't know. Thomas Robinson.
Yeah.
Who was that big man?
At the same time.
Who was that big man they just had 2 years ago?
Yeah. Damn. Forgot his name.
He won the national championship with them, right?
Yeah. I forgot his name. It was like a Abaji name, I feel like one that I'm not going to just remember on the top of my head.
Okay, Jared, we're going to keep moving down the list to the third. And as always, guys, comment any of these if you want to, and all that fun stuff. Drop a comment. Let us know how you feel about the episode. Jared, we're going to go to the third out of the 5 superlatives. Draft prospect with the highest ceiling.
Yeah, so this was a little difficult for me. I used a player that could easily be and also the highest risk. I didn't use them both, but he could be. And that is Derek Whitehead or Derek out of Duke. I mean, this guy, I forget what he was coming out of high school, but I think he was a top 5 recruit. He's got to be.
Yeah, he's definitely a 5-star.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the youngest players in the draft. He's 18, and he struggled with injuries going into college and during college. I think it was his foot or ankle. one of those. Um, he played 28 games, but he kind of just his season. He didn't play up to his standards due to an injury. Who knows? I think it was he wasn't as explosive and athletic as he was before the injury, but his shot was still there. I think if he could work his way back from that injury, he could easily be one of the best players in this draft. He's got that shot. He's 6'7", 220. So he'll play that small forward, big shooting guard role. But if you just watch his film, he's got the mechanics. I mean, he shot 43% from three, and he didn't shoot as well from the two in college. I think that was due to the injury.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy just he's got, when you see the shot, it's just fluid. You know he's going to be a good shooter in the league. It all depends on if he could bring back that, athleticism into his game and get to the basket, finish. If he could do that, he could be a star, I think. So he's got the highest upside, and that's why he was ranked so high coming out of high school. So you know what he can be. It just, can he be that anymore after those injuries? So, I mean, NBA teams will evaluate, but he'll probably get drafted maybe outside the lottery. I mean, you could get high lottery talent. It was kind of like, reminds me of like Michael Porter Jr. His injuries.
I'm seeing 24 to the Kings.
Yeah, so he's getting picked later, but he very well should be high lottery pick if injuries never happen, and injuries happen, so it could become part of his career. But I see when Michael Porter, they took a chance on him. He wasn't a star, but he ultimately was the third option for a championship team. I mean, they needed him, so he could be something like that. So that's why I think his ceiling could be very high, and he can contribute.
You also could have used him at the highest risk, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, that's what yeah, definitely.
No, and draft age flies off the board here. People love the freaking draft age. 3-point percentage projected through NBA 3-point percentage. We just didn't see enough from him in college.
Yeah.
So fair enough to where if you're in the 20s, you take a risk on him. In my opinion, that's the type of player you take.
I think it'd be a really good.
If you're at 13 or 12, you probably pass.
13, yeah, but if you think injuries won't be a problem and he'll get back to what he is,
that's fair. Fair enough.
Get him while you can.
Okay, my prospect, who I think has the highest ceiling, and I just lost him on my little notes. Thank you. Okay, my prospect. No, you're on the wrong way. My prospect of the highest ceiling is Anthony Black. Nice job, JR, man. You take over for the Banish for 2 seconds, man, and then you're clicking the wrong person, man. That's the highest risk.
Give him a little teaser.
You hit the wrong button. Highest ceiling. Oh, good. Anthony Black. 6'6", 6'7", point guard / shooting guard, combo guard, one of those big guards that NBA teams have absolutely fallen in love with. Freshman, he's 19. He turns 20 in January. Great defender, long defender. The problem with Anthony Black, and I think he has all the tools. He's a physically gifted. NBA comparison, Jared, I don't know if he's going to love this.
Lonzo Ball.
I was going to go Josh Giddey. He kind of has that same.
He's better defensively, I think.
Yes, I think Giddey's a better offensive player.
Yeah, I agree.
Coming out, I think Giddey was. Well, he's a better offensive player now, but I think Giddey was a better offensive player coming out than Anthony Black is. But he has all those tools to be one of those long LaMelo, Lonzo, Giddey kind of guards, right? Like Dyson Daniels last year.
Yeah.
And Dyson Daniels year one was up and down, which is a ton of NBA draft prospects. But he has that long frame. Can he score, and can he be efficient enough score? That's the problem with Anthony Black, right? There's going to be teams, and in this mock draft, they have the Jazz taking him 9, which I think is he probably fits, in my opinion, the 8 to 12 range, I think. I like Anthony Black.
Some people will say even higher.
Yeah, because he has the intangibles to be a very good NBA player. It's just he wasn't a great three-point shooter. He wasn't a great scorer. He struggled with turnovers. He did all the things wrong, but He has all the intangibles, but that's why he has the highest ceiling, because there's so much room for him to grow, and he has like he can't grow at like height wise at this point. He has the frame, he has the build, he can defend, in my opinion. Great passer, great. He's gonna come into the league right away and be a defender, plus with steals, and can pass the ball. It's if he can slowly develop an offensive game, and if he can be that type of player that averages 15, 10, and 6, right? That kind of style stat line where he's not dropping 25, but he's dropping 6, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 14, 16 points. So I think that's where Anthony Black, and I think it kind of projects as. And I think like a LaMelo Ball or Alonzo or Giddey is a perfect comparison. And I think I get the Dyson Daniels comparison. I think the same type of player from last year's draft to this year's draft. It's just, I don't know if Dyson Daniels hasn't done anything yet. So, but it's the same frame kind of as Dyson Daniels.
Yeah. I just hope for him, he doesn't fall into that trap where it's, like kind of like you see, he's a do everything player. So he doesn't do one thing really good. I mean, if anything, it would probably be defense.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do one thing like really good. So he can't just be average at everything. He's got to take his role and go with it, just be that guy who will just dive on the ball, defend your best guard. Like he's got to accept that role as just being defensive player that will just do everything.
Yeah. I'm reading a Bleacher Report comparison. It says shooting development will be key for Black, who need more reliable jumpers to offer the type of scoring firepower coaches typically want from starting guards.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to develop a legit. He doesn't have to be like he's like
Alonzo when he came in. He's
a great but the thing, like, he's a great passer and a great defender. He doesn't have to be an elite.
I'd say he's a good passer. I wouldn't say he's great.
This is high IQ passing, so I'm just going to go great.
Okay.
He doesn't have to be an elite scorer ever in his career to be a really good NBA player. He just has to be efficient enough where it's not a problem right away.
Yeah.
Right? Like Lonzo Ball right away wasn't a good enough scorer. And that kind of became a little bit, and also Lonzo Ball,
I think he found his role. Like he wasn't people expected him to be a scorer, and that's
Lonzo Ball expectations also way different than what Anthony Black is. When you have Magic Johnson saying Lonzo Ball's jersey numbers could be in the rafters in the Staples Center, it's a little different than Anthony Black's draft profile. It just doesn't. It's just one was not fair to the kid.
Yeah.
He was getting almost not the same as Victor's treatment, but he was like a Hall of Famer right away.
Yeah.
Like that was his treatment. And obviously his dad didn't help either. So yeah, I like Anthony Black as my highest ceiling. All right. JR, we're going to keep moving down the list. Number 4 out of 5 superlatives. Highest risk draft prospect. Or the NBA draft prospect with the highest risk.
Yeah. So this is the guy, he's teammates with Victor Wembanyama out in France, and that's Bilal Coulibaly. I think, and we could say this all day, but he's very raw and athletic, and he's got all the attributes, athleticism-wise, physical traits. That's the word. But
physical traits.
I don't think we've seen enough from him in France. I mean, it's like those European players where they'll average 8 points per game, 5 points per game, but like value very high. Like Luka averaged a lot more, but I think when he got drafted, I think he was averaging like 12 points per game. So, I mean, I don't think that tells the story when it comes to who he is, because they come in, they're just better than they are, or they're worse. But I mean, I think he averaged like 5 points per game. So, and like 3 rebounds. He got 18 minutes a game and only played 27 games. I think they're still in the playoffs somewhere in France.
I'm following that really closely.
Yeah, I was seeing that on Twitter or something. But, who knows, that comes from, playing with Wembanyama and him taking all the pressure away from all the other players on offense. But he's shown IQ. He's shown he could get to the hoop. Like I said, he's athletic. I think if the right team drafts him and molds him right, like he'll be good. However, you're taking a risk. You're taking an 18-year-old kid from France who's, not that strong yet. He's just, like I said, he's just athletic and raw. but he has certain IQ that you've seen on film that his potential, but you're also he could end up being out of the league in 4 years. Who knows? That's why it's the highest risk, and it's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. I see. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but basically, I like him. I like him personally as a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand the risk that comes with that.
Yeah, Memphis 25th. This is the mock draft that I'm looking at for Bilal Coulibaly.
He's been climbing up.
Yeah, I think
that
type of guy, the type of guy that you take like 25 or something, right? And you're just like, who the heck are you?
Yeah,
if you're like, oh, he might be good, or you might never from hear him again, and he's the next. I don't know. Omar, you're at 7. I don't know why.
Like Frank Ntilikina or something.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, 100%. European prospects are always dicey.
Yeah,
but we got a lot of European players. We got a lot of European players in the NBA.
Yeah, and
Doncic, Jokic, Giannis. Like those are 3. Embiid.
Don't forget about they're not European, but they're
Embiid's not European. International. Sorry.
Yeah,
international.
I was gonna say the Canadian players are doing really well.
Is that considered international though?
Yeah, it's a different country. I know it's very similar, but
it's the same continent.
Shea, Jamal, there's a lot of other players.
Kyrie, isn't Kyrie Australian?
He's Australian. Yeah,
that's wild.
But I mean, his dad's American. He was just playing overseas in Australia. So,
yeah,
same with Ben Simmons.
Yeah,
it's not like he was born in Australia. We'll get off the tangent here.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
Let's start breaking down where people are from. My highest risk, and I want to preface this. I think he's going to be a very good NBA player. I think he's going to be very good.
Doesn't sound risky then.
It is risky.
All right.
Doesn't mean when am I always? I said I wish we both thought Scotty Barnes was gonna be a bust, dude.
No,
I guess year 2 Scotty Barnes wasn't great, but year 1, like Franz Wagner wasn't good. He was good. He's good.
Like 2 rookie of the year.
Yeah, so we're not the. I'm not saying we're not the best. I think he's gonna be very good, but there's risk. There's risk with a lot of these guys. I feel like you can go pick out of a hat and you find a risk.
Yeah. Except Wemby, no.
Except Wemby.
Even
Cam
with
Whitmore. I got to watch Cam Whitmore live at Providence when I was broadcasting, and I got to see him right up in person. I was courtside. This dude can fly. He can fly. He has all the intangibles to be an NBA superstar. I just think it's going to take a little while. And I see a mock draft 5 to the Pistons. When you're taking a guy 5, oh man, him and Ivy would be kind of dope together.
And Cade.
Oh my God, that actually might work. Okay, so maybe he's not risk if he goes there, but because I think it's not enough. It's not a ton of pressure on the guard position for him there. But when you take a guy 5 anyway, you're expecting a ton. Like it's simple as that. I just think there's a lot of issues, a lot of bad shots he took, doesn't pass the ball well, and doesn't defend. But he takes NBA style shots. Where with that in college that doesn't work, right? But in the NBA, you go up and you take pull-up jumpers all the time, a ton of iso ball. So he plays the iso ball. I just wish he was more efficient. I wish he defended, and I wish he didn't turn the ball over. But his draft age is awesome. Doesn't turn 19 until July, so he fits into that 19-year-old to start his career. But I just think there's too many weaknesses for him. Look. I didn't put him in the overrated category because that means I don't like you if you're in the overrated category. I don't think you're going to be good. I still think he's going to be very good. I just think there's a ton of things that have to go right for him to succeed as an NBA player. But he does take a ton of NBA style shots. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself. I know I'm going back and forth because I do like him. I think I really do like him. And I got to watch him play and I was like, oh my God, the athleticism just pops. But then you watch a couple games and he's missing a ton of shots. But then he makes a couple. So he's that type of player where it was like, 2 games in a row, couldn't miss. And then goes on a 4-game stretch where he just couldn't make it. He was one of those type of players. So I think rookie year is going to be a very hot and cold, inefficient scorer. It's do the Pistons have time to develop him and turn him into more consistent scorer.
Yeah. I see your points. Like you weren't seeing enough in college that were like, wow, like he's going to succeed a lot. You knew he might succeed, but there's other concerns.
He does have the athleticism to succeed.
Yeah, I think
he can fly out of a gym.
I think we were talking about this a little bit before, but I think his struggles in college, not that they're not a factor, but he was coming off that injury, and I think he just played the ball that he like knew how to play. He didn't like really absorb like the team basketball.
Yeah.
And sometimes like that'll show up on stats and show up in the efficiency. But when you kind of correlate that to the NBA, like you said, he was playing NBA style ball, and that's what he knows. And then obviously when he goes to the NBA, he knows he's not, I mean, maybe mentally you think so, but he knows he's not better than basically the whole league because, there's the best basketball players in the world. So he will absorb like
that's fair
using team basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, he's got all the raw and he's got the shot, physical traits. But so, yeah, I mean, he very well can go 5.
Well, I would take him top 10, 100%. I would take him top 7, top 8. I'm not. That's not where I'm going here. I just think
I know. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a risk.
Did you size him up when you saw him in person?
Yeah. My 5'8", 5'9" self. Yeah, that's how that goes. No, I was courtside. Dude can fly out of a gym.
He could,
but then he also has offensive laps and then also has defensive laps.
Yeah.
So
I feel like if he locks in as a defender, though, he could be a really good defender.
And I also think, like, I'm not saying he's going 5 to Detroit, but in this mock draft that I'm looking at, it fits.
And then Sadiq Bey is there.
Well, yes.
Not his old teammate, but his old.
Yes, Ivy, and you have Cade Cunningham, so he doesn't have to do as much. And can be like a Jordan Poole style off the bench.
Yeah. That'd be cool. It'd be like a young college team.
That'd be a fun team to watch.
Duran, Sadiq.
Oh, yeah.
Cam.
It's a good team.
Yeah.
They could sneak into a plan.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay. We're going to end this superlative episode with our lowest risk. Someone that we think might not have NBA all-star or superstar potential, but could be an efficient player for 10 to 12 years. JR, who's your lowest risk NBA draft prospect?
Yeah, my lowest risk is going to be Jarace Walker from Houston. I say that because I feel like his game is very developed and kind of similar to your Anthony Black, where he doesn't do anything like the best out of this draft. He's top 8 pick in this draft. He doesn't do anything like the best over other prospects, but he just does everything so well, and he plays team basketball. He's a great. I don't want to say role player because that infers that you're coming off the bench all the time and like you give like 16 minutes a game, but you know what I mean. But he has that like Draymond Green role on a team kind of feel, where he's a smaller big man. He's 6'8", but he can play the center if he's big enough. We'll see in the NBA, but in college he could play the center. He could shoot the 3. He's great at defense, great rim protector. He's got good passing for his size, and what I would like to see him develop more is like driving to the hoop. But as like a risk factor, he knows what it's like to play on a winning team. He played on Houston. So I think for a team, I mean, it's not going to happen because he's going to be a high pick. But if he could go to like a developed team, he could be a really good asset for them. But he's going to go to like a team still developing. But I think he's a core piece to I'm not going to say championship roster, but a successful team. That role is facilitating the offense as like a smaller big like Draymond. He could shoot the 3 well, and he could defend. So if he just kind of encapsulates like that whole mix as a player, like kind of like Anthony Black, I think he kind of already has that. So that's why I think it's really low risk. You already know what you're getting out of him.
This mock draft has him 7 to the Indiana Pacers.
That's a very popular pick.
Okay.
The Pacers pick.
Nice pick. Yeah. I'm going to end it with my lowest risk, and that is Grady Dick. Did I just want to say Dick and not get yelled at on YouTube? Yes. And not get banned? Yes. But this is a guy that another Kansas player, and a first time not in a while, but Kansas recruits really well, but they're very good at developing their talent and keeping their talent, right?
It's like UNC in a way,
Yeah, 100%. They're not like Duke and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Grady Dick, turns 20 in November, so a little older, but I wouldn't say it's a draft age issue. Very good 3-point shooter. Projects to and become a really good 3-point shooter at the next level. 6'7", small forward type of thing. Doesn't turn the ball over. Shoots free throw percentage very well. Good at defending. Very good assist to turnover ratio in college. I think he projects to be a very good 3-point shooter. I think the lowest he can be is just a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. And NBA teams need that, right? Like his pro comparisons, Kevin Huerter. I think Kevin Huerter is a solid NBA player.
Yeah.
Like that's
Especially
not
now on the Kings. He's definitely.
Yeah. So I think he could be a number 3 or 4 option on a team. And I think he can score. I think he can defend. And I think he's going to be an elite shooter in the NBA. I don't think he's superstar potential because I don't think he has athleticism to be a superstar potential. But I think he'll be a good, can create his own shot. I think he'll be able to create his shot more than like a JJ Redick. But I think if he has it, I think he could have a JD like off the dribble.
All right.
I think he could have a JJ Redick type of career, in my opinion. And I think, look, this guy's not going to be the most flashy pick you're going to take in the first round. This mock draft has him going 10 to Dallas, but I think off the bench with Dallas, he would fit really well. A scorer off the bench. They need perimeter shooting. He's not the best defender in the world.
Yeah.
But
this is one of his minuses.
I think he's coming with a legit NBA 3-point shot. So I think if you step in the league already being able to shoot like an NBA player from long range, I think you can grow into a solid NBA player. So I think there's not a lot of risk when it comes to Grady Dick.
I agree. He's got that NBA ready play style.
Yeah.
Like a small forward. I think his ceiling is probably like a starter for a couple. Yeah. His starter for like a team. But the only thing with him, like you said, the defense is a problem. If he's got to guard the 3 small forward, that's usually the best player on a lot of teams are the hardest to guard. But I also his off the dribble like shooting is definitely a concern. He's a really good spot up, but you haven't seen him like take an ISO and hit it off the dribble shot much. I mean, he's done it, but that's something he could definitely grow on. But I like the low risk here. You know what you're getting at a Grady Dick.
And you know what you're getting with the Talking Sports podcast. Consistent content on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drop a like, drop a comment, all that fun stuff. This is part 1 of the 2-part NBA draft series. So once you finish watching this, it comes out a couple days later, our NBA mock draft episode, go over and check that out as well. This is a fun episode. It's a little different than what we usually do. A little NBA draft superlatives. As always, drop a comment, drop a like. Give us your thoughts on any prospect that you want. JR, tell everybody, boys and girls, where they can find us on social media. Man and woman, everybody.
Yeah. So we are on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Talking Sports PD. We'll hopefully we'll be posting a mock draft video soon, so stay tuned with that. And Underdog Sports Fantasy. If you get the app, create an account, use our code TSP while you're creating it, and they'll match your deposit 100%. So use the code, it'll make you money, and then don't forget Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Talking Sports PD. Follow us with more content other than just YouTube. Yeah.
Everything's in the description as always. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hopefully you enjoyed that as well. Make sure you check out US Open episode, and also make sure this weekend, make sure you check out the US Open episode. Make sure you guys check out our NBA mock draft episode and all the content we're posting on all social medias and all platforms throughout the summer. And as always, this was the Talking Sports podcast hosted by Peter DiBiasi and Rocco Trumpbour right here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. And as always, sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.